What's going on, everyone? I'm coming on here because I'm turning 25 tomorrow, and lately I've been doing a lot of reflecting. Not in any dramatic way, but more thinking like, damn, what do I wish I knew at the age of 18? And if you're 18 watching this video, you may find some value in it. If you're older, I would love to hear if you can relate to any of these lessons, or even hear what advice you would give to your 18-year-old self. So you can leave that down in the comment section. I like to make videos like this to share some value based on what I've learned and mistakes that I've made in the past. Personally, I've spent the last few years building a business, buying my first 2 properties, studying the stock market like crazy, and just overall trying to grow as a person. So if you like talking about finances, real estate, and wealth building in general, feel free to subscribe or drop some feedback. I'd love to make more videos like this if people find it helpful. So in this video, I'm going to share the 3 biggest lessons that I would give my younger self. It's not going to be your usual work hard, be kind, buy Bitcoin. That would have been nice. These are going to go a little bit deeper. Some will break off into mindset, finances, building relationships. Because personally, I believe those 3 pillars are something to focus on as you grow up. Each lesson is tied to a book that I've read, and it also will include kind of like a personal story that made it real for me. So let's get right into it. So lesson number 1 is live rich, not look rich. So this is inspired by The Millionaire Next Door, one of my favorite books of all time. If you're a young person who is trying to build real wealth, this is a must read for you. When I was younger, I thought that being rich meant having the nice car, the nice watch, the big brand outfit, the whole flex. But after getting into the real estate industry, buying property, and working with real wealthy people, these people, my mentors, they drive Toyotas, not fancy cars. They wear blue jeans. There's a reference called the Blue Jean Millionaire, which you should look up. Just a modest, humble person who's very successful. And they all got multi-million-dollar portfolios because they understand that wealth isn't about impressing other people. It's about the freedom. So the personal story that I have is that I've always been a saver and not a spender. And that all started when I made one of the biggest money mistakes when I was 18. When I was 18, I bought a brand new Chevy Malibu without knowing what an interest rate was. My interest rate was 18%. 18. Yeah. Which I had no credit history at the time, so rightfully so. My car at the time had broken down, and fixing it would have cost more than it was worth. So I just walked into a dealership wanting something reliable and something that looked cool too. But once I saw how much I was paying per month and how hard I had to work just to afford it, I realized that I had trapped myself. That car ended up feeling like a chain around my neck. And from that moment on, I hated wasting money. I started budgeting, saving, shifting my mindset towards more investing than spending. And honestly, the real wealth is quiet. It's boring. It's just consistent habits and patience. It's owning assets, having cash reserves, and giving yourself options. Being able to walk away from a bad deal or a toxic job, that's the real flex. And there's an analogy that I learned, which is guns versus butter in economics, which guns represent long-term investments, assets, education, business expenses, and butter represents more of your short-term gratification, the flashy cars, designer clothes, things that you can just want, basically. If you choose guns, you build. If you choose butter, you consume. A quote that I really like is from a book called Psychology of Money, which is simple. It's just wealth is what you don't see. Okay, lesson number 2 is following the signs. This is inspired by a book called The Alchemist. This one really changed the game for me when it came to my own mindset. I read The Alchemist, and one of the biggest takeaways is this: the universe is always sending you signs, but most of us ignore them, either because we're focused on the wrong things or too scared to follow what feels right. Things like making a career change or leaving a job that you hate, making an investment in yourself, talking to that person that you really want to get to know. For me, whether it was switching my environment, taking on new challenges, or jumping into real estate investing, there were times where I had no idea what I was doing, but something in me said go, and every time I trusted that feeling, something good came out of it. And The Alchemist talks about your personal legend or your purpose. It's not something that you magically discover. It's something that you follow by paying attention to your own life. That gut feeling, that little voice saying try this or do that, that's not just noise. It's there for a reason, right? That is your path, and you just have to have the courage to follow it. Right, but to follow it, you have to tune out distractions. You have to stop comparing yourself and your journey to everyone else's. I've definitely had moments scrolling online thinking, why am I not further along? Someone else's timeline has nothing to do with mine. A quote that I like that kind of summarizes this is sometimes the smallest step in the right direction ends up being the biggest step of your life. Tiptoe if you must, but take the step. Okay, lesson number 3. You attract what you are, not what you want. This one is inspired by another one of my favorite books, which is How to Win Friends and Influence People. This one was huge for me. Basically, if you want better people in your life, better relationships, better clients, better opportunities, it all starts with who you are. When I was younger, I thought networking was all about who you knew. Now I realize it's about who you are, right? Are you positive, consistent, and do you genuinely care about others, or do you only show up when you need something? How to Win Friends and Influence People taught me this, and that is the best way to build relationships isn't by trying to be interesting, it's about being interested. Right, so ask questions, listen, and be present with people. In real estate, this couldn't be more true, right? A lot of my own clients who come to me do so because I'm not trying to just push them into any house. They actually care about what they want, their timeline, their goals. I take their needs seriously, and it's not just another sale for me. You know, it's someone who has put their trust in me to help them through one of the biggest transactions they're ever going to have in their life. And it's extremely rewarding, and also why a large part of my business is referral based, which I couldn't be more grateful for. So if you're in sales, this book is gold, because the secret isn't just selling, it's about serving. That's how you build trust, and trust builds everything. This is one of my favorite quotes, which is when Dale Carnegie wrote, "You can make more friends in 2 months by being interested in them than in 2 years by trying to get them interested in you." That's a good one, right? Yeah. Anyways, those are the 3 biggest lessons that I wish I knew at 18, and I wish I could share more, but these 3 are the ones that continue to shape how I live, how I work. And honestly, I'm still learning every single day. So if you got any value out of this video, please leave a like so I know whether or not to make more of these types of videos. And again, drop a comment with the biggest life lesson that you've learned, or something that you could tell your 18-year-old self. If you could, feel free to subscribe if you enjoyed. I've got more coming in the future, and I really, really appreciate you watching this. So I will see you in the next one.